Okay, this meeting is now being recorded. Good evening and welcome to the Connecticut Department of Transportation's Public Information Meeting for installation of Centerline rumble strips. This project will install Centerline rumble strips on eligible roadways throughout Connecticut that will be resurfaced in 2024. Tonight, we will be presenting specifically on the need for Centerline rumble strips in Greenwich on US Route 1, West Putnam Avenue, as well as highlighting the safety benefits that comes with its installation. My name is Elo, and I am an engineer at the Connecticut Department of Transportation. I want to thank everyone for taking the time to join us. We hope our presentation will be informative, and we hope to answer your questions and concerns during tonight's question and answer session. By the end of tonight's meeting, we hope you will have a better understanding on the importance and the benefit of installing Centerline rumble strips. If you are viewing this presentation on Zoom, you have the option to view captions or subtitles for this presentation. To turn on this feature, select the CC button at the lower right corner of your screen to turn on the captioning. Then choose the language by selecting Setting wheel next to the CC button. Select the captions, subtitles, and select the desired language. Before we start the presentation and introduce the project team, I would like to go over a few housekeeping items and explain the format for tonight's meeting. Our presentation will last approximately 20 minutes, and once it is completed, we will host a live question and answer session. You will have 3 ways of communicating with us during the live Q&A. The first method is to ask your question directly into the Zoom event. You can ask a question by clicking on the Q&A icon at the bottom of the meeting page and typing your question in the pop-up window. You can also ask a question by sending an email to DOT 2024-CLRS-greenwich@ct.gov, or by leaving a voicemail at 860-594-2020. The comment period will be open through September the 20th, 2024, and you can send an email or leave a voicemail until that date. We also have a project webpage which contains the same information that I've previously explained on how to provide comments or ask questions. The webpage address is portal.ct.gov/DOT 2024-CLRS-Greenwich. A recording of tonight's presentation, including the live event Q&A, will be stored at portal.ct.gov/CTDOT-VPIM archive. Lastly, we would greatly appreciate it if you can fill out the very brief feedback survey that is on the project's webpage. The survey will help CTDOT improve these public meetings going forward. Again, the project webpage is portal.ct.gov/DOT 2024-CLRS-Greenwich. Here is a civil rights flyer that's available. The website for that is portal.ct.gov/DOT/business Office of Equality/Title VI page. Finally, I would like to reinforce that no person shall, on the basis of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation or subjected to discrimination in the development of this project. Now, I would like to introduce those from the department who are participating in this meeting. Natasha Fatu is the State Safety Engineer for the state of Connecticut. and the principal engineer of CTDOT's traffic safety units. Blush Sok is the supervising engineer of CTDOT's traffic safety unit and the project manager for this project. Rob Smith is the transportation engineer of CTDOT's transportation traffic safety unit and also the lead project engineer for this project. Shane McLean is also an engineer within the unit and will be monitoring the project email address and calling voicemail for any questions or comments during the live Q&A. Once again, I'm Yilong, an engineer in the safety engineering unit and the primary presenter for tonight's meeting. I will also be answering any questions you may have during the live Q&A session. Tonight, we will go through the project description and the purpose of this project, as well as objectives that we hope to achieve. Then, we will give a thorough description of what Centerline rumble strips are, and why Centerline rumble strips are the best countermeasure for this roadway segment. Next, I will discuss the installation process of Centerline rumble strips. Lastly, we will go over the cost and timeline for this project before we wrap everything up with the live Q&A discussion. The Connecticut Department of Transportation will resurface U.S. Route 1 West Putnam Avenue from Connecticut and New York State Line to Deerfield Drive in Greenwich, a total length of 1.8 miles. As highlighted on the aerial image, the section from 300 feet north of Pembroke Road to Brookside Drive was identified as being candidate for the installation of Centerline rumble strips, a total length of 1.5 miles. I will go over what qualifies this section of U.S. Route 1 as eligible later in this presentation. Centerline rumble strips are discontinued at intersection with public streets, such as Edgewood Drive, because vehicles use the intersectional area when they are turning into and out of these side roads. So what are Centerline rumble strips? Centerline rumble strips are grooves within the double yellow centerline that produce sound and vibration inside the vehicle when the tires come into contact with them. The sound and vibration alerts the driver that they have departed from their lane and gives the driver an opportunity to recover. Centerline rumble strips are different than the grooves along the edges of cities' interstate highways. The grooves for centerline rumble strips on secondary roads are not as deep and therefore produce much less sound outside the vehicle. Why do we use centerline rumble strips? The audible and the vibratory warning greatly improves the chances that a driver will quickly and safely turn to their lane. Centerline rumble strips also have the additional benefit of helping drivers navigate during poor weather conditions such as fog, snow, and rain, when pavement markings are obscured. The Federal Highway Administration has identified the centerline rumble strips as a proven safety countermeasure to address head-on and sideswipe opposite direction crashes. As I mentioned in the last slide, centerline rumble strips are an example of a proven safety countermeasure according to the Federal Highway Administration, along with the other countermeasures shown on this slide. Additional information can be found here by Googling proven safety countermeasures and clicking on the first link. The department's safety engineering unit also has an informational website, which provides additional information specific to Connecticut. In 2023, There were 36 fatalities and 2,195 injuries from head-on and opposite direction sideswipe crashes on city non-freeway roadways. Centerline rumble strips help reduce these types of crashes, which could be attributed to distracted or fatigued driving. Over 25% of people injured in crashes associated with vehicles crossing the center line were under the age of 25. In a 2021 study, Connecticut roads saw a 57% decrease in fatal and severe injury crashes after the installation of Centerline rumble strips. Looking at motor vehicle crashes on this segment of U.S. Route 1 in Greenwich from 2021 to 2023, there were at least 2 crashes that involved drivers encroaching over the center line. All resulted property damage. This data is publicly available from the Connecticut Crash Repository at citycrash.uconn.edu. The point of the Centerline rumble strips is to reduce the possibility of these types of crashes. It is also important to note that near misses are not recorded. So they may be happening, but there is no information about them. Centerline rumble strips are a highly effective, low-cost, proactive treatment intended to reduce lane departure crashes, and we're continuing to keep these crashes from happening. Additionally, per the infograph at the bottom of this slide, Centerline rumble strips can reduce head-on crashes by as much as 50%, run-off-the-road crashes by 46%, fatal crashes by 51%, and serious injury crashes by 41%. Where are Centerline rumble strips being used? There are approximately 43 states across the country that use Centerline rumble strips, including all the states in the Northeast U.S. Connecticut started installing Centerline rumble strips in 2018 and shoulder line rumble strips on limited access highways since 1994. Connecticut has installed over 500 miles of Centerline rumble strips on state roads and over 90 miles on local roads, with more being proposed every year. Lastly, there is a link to a video titled Rumble Strips, The Sweet Sound of Safety, which is a short YouTube video uploaded by the Federal Highway Administration and will be available once the presentation is posted online. It can also be found on YouTube by typing in the underlined keywords. As you can see on this map, the map about Centerline rumble strips in Connecticut. The majority of towns in Connecticut have had already Centerline rumble strips installed. Any town shown in green already has Centerline rumble strips, whether it's on a town or state-owned roadway, and towns in blue are programmed to have them installed. And towns shown in white do not currently have Centerline rumble strips, but this will likely change in the near future as additional roads are repaved. The department goes through a screening process based on FHWA guidance to determine Centerline rumble strips eligibility for each road, including taking a look at the traffic volume, making sure that the average daily traffic on the road is at least 2,000 vehicles per day, ensuring that the pavement is in good condition and less than 3 years old. The roadway is to have a minimum of 14 feet of width from the center line to the edge of pavement. This makes sure that there is plenty of room for drivers to maneuver without going over the centerline rumble strips. The roadway must have a posted speed limit of 35 miles per hour or greater. Lastly, there should be a low residential density. If there are some homes along a segment, we try to ensure that the majority are at least 100 feet from the edge of the road. Here's some information about Centerline rumble strips construction. The average cost of installing Centerline rumble strips is about $1 per linear foot. This means the total cost of Centerline rumble strips is approximately $7,000 for the 1.5 mile long segment in Greenwich. The cost will be covered by 100% state funds, so there is no cost to the town, with construction anticipated to take place during next year's construction season. These are just a couple of pictures taken from construction, showing part of the milling and the grooving process. Construction vehicles work and travel at 2 to 3 miles per hour to install the Centerline rumble strips. The work is done during non-rush hours, and the center lines are painted shortly after. And with that, I want to thank you for your time listening to our presentation. And now it's time to hear from you in our live question and answer session. Remember, you can use the Zoom Q&A to send us live questions. You can also email us any questions or comments via the project email address or leave a voicemail message on the calling phone line. We also want to encourage you to take our very brief feedback survey to help us improve how we deliver these virtual public information meetings. So with that being said, do you have any questions from the email, voicemail, or the chat for us to answer?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Yi, for that very informative presentation. I hope everybody found it useful and got something out of it. It looks like we do have a question so far from Harry Fisher. The question is, how many instances have there been where vehicles have hit rumble strips and swerved into the outside lane and hit another vehicle? So for that, Mr. Fisher, I think it would be pretty difficult to pull the specific number of instances where that is the case. So again, the question is, how many instances have there been where vehicles have hit rumble strips and swerved into the outside lane and hit another vehicle? So since we are talking about centerline rumble strips here, not the edge line rumble strips on interstate roadways, again, it'd be very difficult to get this information from the crash repository that we do use. As Yi mentioned, we do have specific information regarding crashes for the head-on crashes and sideswipe opposite direction crashes for the past 3 years. And I mean, we could extrapolate that to multiple years, but the numbers are pretty staggering. And these rumble strips have been proven to show that they're effective at reducing these types of crashes, which are often fatal. We can try and get some information for you again regarding specifically this question, but it is kind of a tough ask, I think, in terms of the data itself. Additionally, I will also mention that the Federal Highway Administration guidance does allow the inclusion of centerline rumble strips on multi-lane roads, whereas in the past the state typically has only done them on single lane roads, or roads with one travel lane in each direction. So most of the centerline rumble strips that we have installed in the state as of now are on just single lane roadways. So hopefully that helps a little bit with that answer. I don't know if we have any other contribution from DOT side.
Yeah, Balaj, this is Rob Smith. As he introduced, I'm another person on the traffic safety team. And any studies that we have done or that have been provided by Federal Highway have been done in other states. Certainly the the net number of crashes decreases, and we see that especially, like you were saying, Balaj, with the fatal and severe crashes. So if there was ever an overcorrection crash, we still see that overall crashes are going down in these locations or reinstall the rumble strips.
And then generally speaking, from what we do know, we don't have a history of people overcorrecting when there's a shoulder rumble strip. So when a shoulder rumble strip is traveled over. So hopefully that answers that. But if not, again, feel free to follow up with us, using the methods here on the screen, and we'll get you, additional information if requested. We do have another question, it looks like, from Jim Mitchell. Sorry about the if I'm butchering that. How many head-on and lane departure crashes have occurred in this 1.5 mile stretch? So we have 2 sideswipe opposite direction crashes, I believe, when we looked at the crash repository for this segment of roadway, Jim. So while that may not seem like a lot, what we're not capturing essentially is, close misses or close calls that have happened. Obviously, those don't get recorded. And I'm sure, everybody attending can attest to that being a common, just instance that happens, unfortunately, when we all drive. But at the end of the day, even if we can prevent those 2 crashes that have happened from happening in the future, or other crashes, from happening in the future, that's a win in our book. And then just to kind of reiterate that this is a proactive countermeasure. So just because there hasn't been too much of a history of these types of crashes, crashes a lot of the time, especially on roads like this, are random events. Whereas at an intersection, it's sort of a little bit more expected. So by taking a proactive approach rather than a reactive approach, we're trying to prevent the crashes from happening in the first place, rather than waiting for them to happen and then reacting and, putting in the rumble strips afterwards. So that's kind of part of the goal of the, presentation, as well as doing it in conjunction with the paving project, just to kind of knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. So hopefully that answers that question as well. I would like to remind everybody that for those in chat, you can post your question in the Zoom live event chat, where you can, type in the question. For everyone else, you can contact us by email. If you don't want to have it be live on the Q&A tonight, you can contact us by email at dot2024clrs-greenwich@ct.gov, or by phone at 860-594-2020, or you can leave a message with your question. Rob from Connecticut DOT has also added the project webpage into the webinar chat, which you can find at the bottom of your screen, as well as the voicemail number and the project email address that I was just reading off. I would also like to remind and encourage everybody to participate in our brief survey at the link on the project webpage. And I believe we can link that as well into the chat. But that is portal.ct.gov/CTDOT survey. Looks like we have another softball question. And the softball question, or I'm sorry, another question. This one is from Anonymous. Says, how long will the project take?
I can answer this question. I'm E, by the way, from Connecticut DOT. So the project, once the construction crews mobilize, they can complete a 1.5 mile long segment like this in a day. So once the new pavement is installed, this will be a short process, which is not anticipated to impact regular commutes or lead to any sort of major delays.
Okay, thank you for that answer, Yi. Let's see, we'll give a few more minutes for questions, see if any come in. while we wait, one more reminder. The public comment period for this presentation is open through September 20th, so essentially 2 weeks from today. So if there are any questions or comments in between now and then, we will be reviewing all voicemails and emails within that time frame of the next 2 weeks. However, the live chat option is only available during this event right now. And again, there is some general information about this project, which can be found at the project webpage, and this is being recorded. So, can refer to it in the future on our website as well, the recorded presentation. You give people another minute or two, see if there are any questions. All right, I'll do one more set of reminders for everybody, just real quickly, just to make sure everyone has the information which is up on the screen here. So again, for those in chat, you can ask your questions tonight in the Zoom live event chat. For everyone else, you can contact us by email as shown on the screen, DOT 2024 CLRS-Greenwich@ct.gov. Or by phone, you can leave a voicemail at 860-594-2020. If you do leave a voicemail, please reference this project, just DOT 2024 CLRS in Greenwich. The project webpage, again, can be found in the webinar chat, but it is portal.ct.gov/DOT 2024 CLRS, Greenwich. And the project email address again is right up here, DOT 2024 CLRS-Greenwich@ct.gov. We also have a brief survey that we have linked in the chat. That is portal.ct.gov/CTDOT survey. That'll be very useful if that could be filled out. And the public comment period, again, is open through September 20th, so 2 weeks from today, and we will be reviewing all voicemails and emails within that time frame. For general project information, please visit the project webpage. At this time, I'm not seeing any other questions come in. So with that, I would like to thank everybody for joining us this evening. Again, the comment period is open for 2 more weeks, so feel free to send any emails in or leave a voicemail, or visit our project website, which is also shown on the page here. You can also find a copy of the presentation at this link, and then copies of the plans as well, and then the link to the survey that we request, or rather encourage everyone to fill out. With that, I would like to thank you once again for your time, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.